welcome to today's interview on the topic of motivation, success, and you. For
Thank you.
today's workshop video, we are going to be interviewing one of our great and exceptional academic coaches in our SupportNet office, Kassandra. And I am going to give Kassandra a little bit of time here to just introduce yourself and tell us some of the things that you've taken part in.
Hey everybody, welcome. Thanks for viewing this video today. So once again, my name's Kassandra. I'm a second year graduate student here at Fresno State. I'm in the counseling program, so specifically I'm in the student affairs and college counseling concentration. And some of the roles that I'm involved in on campus right now are I'm an academic coach, first of all, with SupportNet. So this is my second semester with SupportNet. And then it's also my first semester with the Center for Advising and Student Services at Kremen as a graduate advising intern. So I've been in those two roles both since January. Some of the other roles that I've been involved in the past here at Fresno State were also a student assistant with Trio's Upward Bound here at Fresno State. So working with first gen low income students on campus. And then I was also a mentor for Wayfinders. So that's a program that we're able to work one-on-one with students with disabilities and help them, integrate to a college campus. So that's something that I've most recently been involved with.
So I can hear some parallels in roles where there's some leadership and also areas where motivation is probably critical in how you're connected to others.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would be interested to know if you're willing to share with us who or what motivates you.
Definitely. So I think one of the things that motivates me the most, I think just my peers in general, the people that I surround myself with every day. So being surrounded with people who are working towards similar goals, and just I realize that everybody has their reasons for why they are in the track that they're on. And it's just really inspiring and humbling to hear about those stories from my peers. And then that really pushes me to think about and reflect, like, why do I want to finish graduate school and like be a student affairs professional? So I think it's just really inspiring to see, my peers working so hard towards what they want to do. The students that I work with are also a really huge motivation, just like seeing everything that they're involved in and how hard they're working. So I think those are definitely great motivators for me.
Mhm.
Um, and then also, I feel like I'm also very motivated by just like being, like striving towards being independent and self-reliant. I feel like that's something that I really craved growing up, growing up in a very strict household. I was the only daughter, living with an immigrant family. So growing up, they were very strict and I had a lot of expectations. And I honestly just wanted to get out and, start a life for myself. So going to college, I was definitely motivated to be independent and, rely on myself. And I feel like that was it was a very accomplishing feeling. So that was definitely something that motivated me. Another thing that I noticed, I think I'm just also very motivated by like what my next step is.
Mhm.
So whether that be the next job or the next degree or the next set of classes for the following semester, and just like doing well in those areas of my life in order to get ahead. So basically to always keep moving forward.
Mhm.
And then when I'm excited about that, then I plan ahead and I prepare myself. And I think that's what keeps me on track.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that with us. Um, it sounds like there's like a circle of positive and motivation that you're surrounded by with your peers and with those who motivate you.
Hmm.
Um, could you tell me how and when you discovered your source of motivation?
Yeah, so I feel like I've never had that specific aha moment where like, okay, this is my source of motivation, but um I feel like I've had throughout the years I found like what I'm passionate about, and then just like through what I'm passionate about, um using that to find my motivation. Like, okay, for example, after a summer internship that I had in undergrad, I was working for a college affordability nonprofit organization that works with low income first gen students on affording college. So I feel like after that experience, I really learned that, okay, I really want to work with students in like a higher ed setting, advising. And then I used that to kind of figure out like, all right, this is what I want to do. So now what are my next steps? How do I get to my end goal? And I just used that end goal as motivation for like basically everything that I did next. So whether that be, applying for an advising position on campus or getting research experience in that area so I can kind of learn more about it. So I think it really came from my experiences in my different roles and just working with students, because I feel like every time I work with my students, like it reminds me like why I'm doing this and like why I'm here in graduate school, because like that's what I want to do as a career.
Mhm. Can you tell us about a specific time when you had to rely on your sources of motivation to overcome a point of adversity?
Yes. I think especially when I'm in that transitional point in my life, whether, graduating undergrad or starting the application process for graduate school, usually during those times of transitions, there's just like so much going on. So for example, when I was getting ready to graduate from undergrad, like I had a ton of things going on because naturally it's like senior year, so it's like being involved in research and internships and classes and just like campus jobs. So like all that going on. And on top of that, it's job searching. So there were times when I just wanted to give up. Like during the day, I was like, I am tired. I don't feel like going to class. I should call in sick for work and just like have a day to myself. Like sometimes I just wanted to give up for a while.
Mhm.
Um, but then I just kind of thought about, well, if I just like gave up and just like didn't do the things that I needed to do, like how is that going to affect me? Let's say I do give up and then I get to the point at the end of the semester where I just I'm not prepared enough, then like how is that going to impact me? So basically just like looking at the big picture, how will it impact me? Would I be okay with where I'm at if I do give up now? Will I later regret giving up? So I don't like having those moments of regret, like looking back and like, could I have done more? So definitely in the moment when I do feel those times when I give up, I do allow myself to, take a break and relax, because I do think that's really important. Um, like we're not robots, so definitely feeling like you want to take a day off, that's fine to recharge. And then just knowing that after that, you're just going to pick up right where you left off. And then you're just going to take it step by step, and just focusing on the things that you can control. So in times of adversity, I feel like it's important to also look at that. Like, what are things you can control? What's your support system? Is that going to the career center on campus, or is that going, seeing an academic coach with SupportNet, or seeing your academic advisor? Like, there's always going to be people that help you. And I think I took advantage of that as well, using my resources and reaching out. So those were all definitely ways that kept me motivated and helped me overcome those dark times.
A lot of the things that you've shared with us are goals and things that you're aspiring for that have a number of steps that are involved in. Could you share with us a little bit of how you have been able to remain patient and um, positive as you make steps towards your goals you have?
Yeah, so remaining patient, that's for sure also a struggle too. Like when you see that end goal and you're like, well, I just want to get there right now. Um, so I mean, I'm a paper person, so I like writing things down.
Mhm.
So sometimes just making like a timeline of just like the steps that I do need to take, and just like approximately like how long will it take? So it's like if you see like realistically how long each step will take, then I feel like that eases your patience, or that eases the lack of patience, because
Mhm.
then you see, okay, like realistically, it's not like I can get a job offer in like a day, so it's like breaking it down into small steps, and then it comes back to that whole like, what can I control and what can't I control. So it's been a lot of self work too, just like slowing down and being like, okay, like I can't fix this right now, or I can't change this right now, so I'm just gonna, write it down for later, like for when I can have control over this, and then just like move on,
Mhm.
so definitely writing down that plan, um, and being able to see it like concretely,
Mhm.
that's a really good way to help manage like that lack of patience and like that anxiety that comes from it, because then you're just like visually seeing like, okay, this is realistically like how and when it can get done.
Recently, I heard that for years, and recently I've had to adopt that same process when it came to goals, and goals that take a little bit longer time to achieve
Mhm.
is to really take the extra step to write it down where you see it.
Mhm.
And I know for myself, it's been something where you realistically kind of say, okay, this is going to take some time to get here. And
Yeah.
so I think early on when I write it down and I see it and I know that it's going to be a time period in getting there, I kind of mentally am prepared for the
Yeah.
time. But thank you for just sharing that with our audience, and even for myself, as having that reminder that for some of our longer goals, to be patient, to stay
Yeah.
positive, we have to accept that it's not going to happen overnight.
Right. Acceptance. That's the key word.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, I'm interested to know, how does motivation help you in the work that you do now?
Yeah, motivation is everything in my work, especially in the roles that I have working with students. I feel like I see myself in students a lot, right? Like I try to find a way to relate, and there's always something that I can relate to. So maybe we didn't go through the same exact experience, but there's usually that similar theme of maybe, for example, not knowing what to do at the moment, not knowing who to turn to, or not knowing where a certain resource is. So I feel like if I just give it my all during those times, like I know I can be helpful for these students and like make a difference. So yeah, basically, um, this is like the work that I do day to day, and working with those students, it reminds me, why I'm here every day, and why I'm here like in Fresno in this graduate program. Like this is what I came here for.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's really important for me as well, is just like being involved and surrounding myself, with people who are also motivated. And that's pretty much always the case. So that's definitely a huge motivator for me.
One of my final questions I have for you here. What advice would you share with someone looking for their source of motivation or hoping to increase motivation?
Yeah, so especially during these difficult times, it can be really common to lose that motivation. And it's just like, well, how do I get it back? So I feel like first and foremost, it's like important, when you're able to just recognize that you're not feeling motivated. I feel like that's a huge step forward, just the simple fact that you're being self aware.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it's important to think about why that motivation has dwindled. So yeah, like just think about like, what's going on, like what is the source of this loss of motivation, but then also not being hard on yourself, because like I mentioned before, we're not robots, like we're all human, and sometimes we get burnt out. So it's important to just like take that, that self-care day, or that, just go a spa day, or just something to take care of yourself, because our bodies and minds, like they get worn out, and that's okay, like that's normal, so take the time you need, but then definitely remembering like, well, where do you want to go at the end of this, like where do you see yourself like 5-10 years from now, and what's something that you can be doing right now that can help you get there. So definitely goal setting is a huge factor in increasing that motivation. And then also recognizing, I know we touched upon patience before, so definitely recognizing that timeline. Sometimes we lose motivation because we know there's like a mountain of things that we have to do, but then recognizing we can't do them all at once. So don't worry about doing it all at once. Take it one step at a time. There is this quote, a Chinese proverb that I really like, and it's basically says, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." And I thought that was so powerful because I'm just like, wow, like it's so simple. Like just getting started is already a step in the right direction. And it's one less thing that you have to do. So if you have a 20-page paper, just start with a paragraph, and go from there. So I feel like if anything, I feel like that's one of the biggest takeaways um, that you can have even from this, from what I've been telling you. I hope that that helps you keep moving forward.
Man, thank you so much. I must say, you know, being one of our staff members in SupportNet, um, I always find that I can and always um, connect with our team members. And there's so much motivation in the office with all of our academic coaches, our professional staff, our emerging professionals that are in graduate programs doing their internships in our office, and yourself included. Um, each person is like it's like a contagious. I know contagious right now is a scary word right now, but in a positive way, a contagious space of motivation because each person is working so hard and seeking ways to um, develop themselves, advance their abilities to serve others. And so I want to thank you for your time. And also, I want you to know that you are one of the key members in our office when it comes to bringing this circle of motivation to others, including professional staff like myself.
Oh, thank you
So
so much.
thank you for taking some time today to share this with us. I really hope that our audience has taken bits of information and wisdom that you've shared today to build on their motivation and to stay connected. You'll see our contact information below. In our SupportNet office, there is a wonderful team of motivational team members that you can connect to help enhance or just reinvigorate your motivation so that motivation, success, and you are all connected. And it plays a key role in success, academic success, but even professional success, personal success. Motivation is a driving force. So thank you so much for taking time and joining us here for this interview on the topic of motivation, success, and you. Uh, you can find Kassandra and team members, including myself, in our SupportNet office. And again, you will see our contact information here on the bottom of your screen. Thank you.